Okay. Hello, everyone. This is Dylan Warren, Team PPG FOE here. I'm going to give you a deck profile for one of the decks that I've really been enjoying testing with set 13. Okay. So there's a little bit of glare here. Hopefully it won't be too bad when I lay out the deck. And that's King Cold. I'll kind of walk through the deck, tell you how to play it, tell you what to look for. King Cold's interesting on his front side. He, one, you get to start with this field card and play. Okay. It reduces all the costs of your green extra cards with the field skill by one, so they become 1-drops. This field card starts in play. It's going to make it so that your other extra cards can't be hit. King Cold, when you play an extra card, field card, you can take up to 1 of your life and draw a card. So the up to 1 of your life is nice because it's going to give us the option to awaken really fast, but it's also not mandatory. So against heavy aggro, you're not going to want to take your life aggressively, and against more control decks, being able to self-awaken super fast, usually you can always self-awaken by turn 2 with this deck, that really helps against control decks. So that's one of the really nice things about him. When you flip, you untap 2 energy. Kind of the same effect on this side, where when you play the field card, you can take 1 life and draw 1 card. But he also has an activate battle. Once per turn, you can discard 1 of your field cards to give him plus 10,000 for the duration of the battle. And that's on both players' turns. So when you swing, you can pop a field card to give him plus 10k. And when your opponent swings at you, you can pop a field card to give him plus 10k. So we can recur our field cards with this deck. And that gives us a lot of combo power because we play a lot of extra cards in the deck, as you'll see. So we kind of need to get extra combo power wherever we can. And this really helps with that. Okay. So I'll kind of lay out the deck. I'll tell you how it works, how to play it. Here's the field card spread. So the hardest part about playing this deck is kind of memorizing all the field cards, what they do. Okay, so I'll go through it. This one, when you play it, you get to draw a card and play at 2 costs or less, Frieza's clan or Frieza's army from your hand. And once per turn, when 1 of your other field cards are sent to the drop, you can destroy 1 of your opponent's 2 or less battle cards. So when you pop a field card with this effect, you can KO or 2 or less. Comes in handy against decks that swarm with a bunch of little battle cards. Your main targets off of this are going to be Berry Blue, which I'll explain later, and this Frieza, which is a 4-drop, but he reduces the cost in hand by 1 for every 2 extra cards you have. So he becomes a 2-drop if you have 4. So basically, this one starts in play. If you have 3 more, he becomes a 2-drop and can free play off of this. Okay, so this one's nice to have early. This one here, this is one of your best filters. When it's played, you can take a life. So with leader, you're going to take 2 life, draw a card, and then search top 3 for any mono green card and add it to your hand. So this is nice because we're not just drawing a card, we can tutor for any mono green. And then when it's popped, you can draw a card, discard a card. That's really nice, especially like on the defensive when they're swinging at you and you do the activate battle. You discard this, draw a card, discard a card. It lets you, when your opponent's like going for game or something, it lets you just filter 1 extra card, which is really useful. So these are probably the 2 best ones. These 2 are at 3-0s. The reason is they're not as crucial turn 1. This one, when you play it, you can take a life and draw a card. And if you have 4 or more, all your Frieza's clan get battle cards get plus 5,000 during your turn. So this card puts a lot of sneaky pressure because some of your battle cards start to build up and they're just 15Ks and 20Ks. But then they all, when you play this, they start becoming just 20 and 25Ks, which becomes a lot harder for your opponent to deal with. So this one really puts the pressure on later on, like turn 2, turn 3, when you're building up your battle cards from your counters and your negates. This is another one that just puts a lot of pressure on your opponent. When you play, you can take up to 1 life, and your leader card gets plus 10,000 and double strike for the duration of the turn. So you get plus 10,000 double strike on the leader. You're a 25k double strike. You swing, you discard a field card with no combo power from your hand unless they've negated. Now they're dealing with a 35k double strike. So what that does is it lets you put just one big swing. It almost reminds me of like Turles, how with the Fruit of Tree of Mites, you're pushing that, you're threatening with that big double strike every turn. And the way we can recur this with Berry Blue, you can threaten just with 35k double strike every turn, and they have to keep negating or comboing out of it, and it becomes really hard to deal with as the game drags on. The other effect of this card is when it's discarded, you nega counter off one of your opponent's Unisons. So it's kind of nice because paired with this, you can KO 2 or less and nega Unison. So any card where you're just generating multiple effects off one trigger is really nice. So the reason those are both at 3 is I feel like they're not quite as powerful and you don't need them as much on turn 1. And we need to kind of limit our dead draws as much as possible. We need room for our tech. So the one drop that you're going to want to play probably most often off the field card early is Berry Blue. So you play this, you're always going to want to draw off lead first. So you draw a card and then you play a 2-drop or less. So you're going to want to take the life off your lead first, draw a card, then draw the card for this just to give you more cards to see, and then play your 2-drop or less. So you want to get her established early. When she's played, she searches your top 7 for a field card, or she grabs your Unison, which we'll see in a second. And her big thing is her activate main. Once per turn, you can pay 1 energy to play one of the field cards from your drop. So that's just constant value. So every turn you can pitch 1 with leader. Okay, so activate battle, KO. Now you're paying 1, and this is costing you no resources from hand. So you're paying 1, you're going to replay this. If you haven't drawn off the leader, you're going to draw. You're going to search top 3 for a mono green card and add it to your hand. So you're just going to recur that every turn and keep plussing. And it ends up being super valuable, especially if she stays on board for multiple turns. Okay. The other thing I forgot to mention on the leader is some leaders have the effect where you can draw on both sides. So if a leader says, when this card attacks, draw a card, you can't draw, flip, and then draw again. But certain leaders like Vegex, you mill 5, draw a card, you can flip and draw again. King Cold's one of those leaders that can kind of double draw on a turn. So you can play your extra card, draw, flip, play another extra card, draw again. So like essentially you could play this, search top 3, draw off lead effect, add a mono green card, flip, pitch it, Berry Blue, play it again, draw again, search top 3 again. So you can just net a ton of value early and get ahead on the card advantage, which card advantage is super valuable in this game. This card, you don't need to see it turn 1, but you need to see it by turn 2. Its effects are, you can -1, you can play an extra card for free. So you play it on turn 2, and you play an extra card for free, and that should get you to awaken if you've been taking the life the whole time. It has another -1 where your opponent chooses one of their battle cards with 5 or less and KO it. This doesn't come in handy too often, but it's just nice to have another effect. So in all my testing, I haven't done that -1 yet, but I do like that it's on the card because I feel like it's going to come up. And then his -3, he actually ends up killing pretty often with this. -3, this card gets triple strike and plus 5,000 for every battle card in your field area. So if you have 4, he gets plus 20k, becomes a 35 triple strike. So what I like to do is hold one of these in my hand at all times. And the reason is, if this is sitting there with 3 counters, my opponent might forget. I attack, 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 do all these things. And it's also activate battle. So you can swing, and if your opponent says negate, you know, okay, I'll do the +1. But if you swing and they don't negate, now you can do the -3 and give triple strike. So I also like to leave it with 3 counters and hold 1 in hand. So they're forgetting, I'm swing, swing, swing. They're thinking I can't give the triple strike, then I plus it, swing, -3, triple strike, and get the kill. So the thing is, you can do 5 damage very quick with this deck. Okay, so you can very easily make the lead into that 35 double strike and then deal triple strike, and your opponent's sitting there thinking you're a control deck, and next thing they know, you're hitting them from 5 to 0 super fast. Okay, So the kill potential on the Unison is very strong, and if you're playing against this deck, don't sleep on that. It will kill you. So this is arguably one of the best SRs coming out of the set. I'm holding on to my extra ones just because I think they'll go up in value. I recommend you do too. And if you don't have a set, I would get a set while they're not crazy expensive. It's just such a super valuable counterplay. It's a counterplay, and you choose a battle card with 4 power or less that's being played, and place it in your opponent's drop area instead of it being played. But during your opponent's turn, you reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 1 for each green extra card in your battle area and drop area. So if you're a burst leader like Clash Coup, it'll fuel your drop. But also, we already start out with 1, so it's a 3 as of turn 1, probably a 2 at least, because we're going to play a second field card. And by turn 2, this is usually a 1-drop. So it's a 1-drop, counter 4 or less. That already matches Preemptive Strike, but that's 2 costs. And this plays itself. It's 15k, and with the other field card, these sit on the board, and then they become 20ks once you build the field card up. But the other thing is, when you play this card, if your opponent has 8 or more cards in their hand, they choose a card and discard it. So here's the interesting thing. You don't have to play this just as a counterplay. The auto triggers no matter what. So let's say your opponent has a 10-card hand. It doesn't have unique or anything. You can pay 1 for 2 of them and make them discard 2 cards from your hand and play 2 1-drop 20ks. This card is super value across the board. Any green deck that can put extra cards in the drop should play this card, and King Cold should definitely max this card out. It's just crazy value across the board, no matter how you slice it, against pretty much every deck in the game, except maybe like Invoker, where their main play is just deflect barrier, but this can hit the other guy. So the Rival Seeker. This is the other guy you'll play off the field card that plays a 2-drop or less. He's dual attack and blocker, and you reduce his cost by 1 for every 2 extra cards in your battle area. So once you have 4 in there, he becomes a 2-drop, which means you can play this, draw a card, and free play this card, which is dual attack blocker 20k. So with the other field card, he becomes a 25. And once per turn, when he activates blocker, you can discard one of your field cards to restand him, which means you can block again. So when we get to, we have dormant potential in the deck, which you'll see shortly. The dormant potential with the double blocker allows you to just end your opponent's turns pretty quick. This guy is another big swinger for us. He ends up being a 30k with our field card. He's a 25k double strike with deflect, so he really helps against your blue matchup. And you reduce his costs as well for each field card. So he ends up being a 3-drop. He can't go below a 3, but his activate main is really good. Once per turn, you can put one of your field cards in the drop. You can kill one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier. So that's amazing because you have like charismatic villain and stuff that can KO battle cards, but this is the only one that can really hit barrier in the deck. When you do, he restands. So he's already deflect double strike, but when you KO the card, he restands, and you discard a random card from your opponent's hand. So he's really good, especially against like Mecha Frieza and stuff, where they like Zamasu, super combo, rest your battle cards. He's not dual attack, so at any time you can pitch the card, restand him, and rip a card out of your opponent's hand. And just the 30k potential dual attack double strike pressure is really good. He hits through barrier, so he really helps against like Invoker to hit their Vegeta off the field. He's super strong. This one we have a 3 of Royal Supremacy. It's a counter attack, negate the attack and kill a 3-drop or less when you play it. But the big thing is if you have 3 or more field cards, which we usually always do by turn 2, it's free. Costs nothing from hand. So free negate that kills 3 or less. I want to run this at 4 of, and I probably will. But right now, fitting all the deck space, it's really tight. And so far in testing, 3 has felt fine. But the card is just so good that I want to put it at 4. I haven't fully decided what will work out of the deck for it yet. This is kind of like our topo of the deck. It's not as strong, but it will fend off our opponent. and it ends up with our field card. It becomes a 20k, so it's a counterattack, and you reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 1 for every green extra card in your battle area. So by turn 2, it's usually always a 1-drop. It negates the attack and plays itself. And then for the rest of the turn, if your opponent swings at leader, they have to pitch a card from their hand. So this is kind of like our topo negate. It's not as strong, but it becomes a 20k on the crackback. It's only 1 energy instead of 2. We don't have to pitch a card from our hand to use it. So even though they don't have to pitch 2, it does have its perps where, you know, topo, if you pay the 2 for it and discard a card from their hand, it's kind of costly if your opponent counterplays it and keeps the effect from going off. This, since we're not losing a card from hand and we're only paying 1 energy, it doesn't hurt us that bad if our opponent counterplays it. So not quite as powerful, but it's also not quite as costly. Since we're playing a Unison that we can protect relatively easily with our blockers and things, we have to play 4 Charismatic Villain. It's just a great counterplay. You play it, free play it. If you have 2 or more markers on your Unison, and KO a battle card 7 costs or less. It's pretty much a staple in anything where you're going to have the Unison online, and your Unison's likely not to die right away. And because of that reason, we also play 3 Dormant Potential currently. I'm going to put 1 in the side. I don't have the sideboard in the video. I'm just going main board for now. But 3 Dormant Potential in the main. 4 felt too clunky. You side the 4th for when you play against heavy aggro. But that matched with this combo is really powerful. Okay, so this is a double blocker. So you can Dormant, block, restand, block again, and then your opponent's turn's over. So as long as you defend this and it doesn't get killed by an opponent's effect, then your opponent's turn is just going to end. And then even if you block and they kill it, you free negate the second one. And so that lets you tap out and still not get hit with any attacks, as long as your opponent doesn't have like a counter or a way to stop this kind of wall that you're building. But it gets super oppressive and hard to deal with if your opponent doesn't have any answers. And it gets really annoying for them to try to push through. So for the super combo of the deck, I feel like you either have to play this one or the Gohan that bottom decks a card and draws 2. The Paragus super combo, when we combo with it, it's going to draw 2 cards and then we warp a card from our hand. Part of the reason you need to play a filter super combo is you just have so many extra cards. You're going to have dead cards in your hand, and you need that filter power. So the thing is, with the cards like this, we'll keep cycling this card with Berry Blue and searching our top 3 for a mono green card. And when we do that, it actually lets us end up finding like 3 to 4 super combos every game. So it seems like you won't have a lot of combo power in hand, but when you filter your deck so easily and keep searching top 3 for any mono green card, and you dig and you find all 4 super combos consistently, it makes it a lot better. So a lot of times my opponents get mad because I consistently have 3 to 4 super combos in this deck, but they don't realize every time I just keep searching top 3, I'm going to find it. People who've seen my deck list know I like running Rogue One-ofs that just put in a lot of work. And for this deck, the Rogue One-of that just puts in tons of work and demands a lot of respect is Selzer's Destroying Kamehameha. So you pay the 1, if all your energy is mono green, you get plus 15k on a leader or battle card and discard a random card from your opponent's hand. I didn't run this at more than 1 of just because we have so many extra cards, but I did find myself when my opponent was going all in or I was going all in for game, I was just having 1 energy open a lot of the times and wishing I had some more combo power. And I didn't like it at more than 1, but just the 1 of and filtering, you can search top 3 for a mono green card. You can almost make sure you always see this when you need it. And especially with this play, like if we want to pressure our opponent, some decks that are like more controlling, we need to get them down. We play this, we go to 25 double strike, swing, pop a battle card, go to 35 double strike, throw this on it, and for just the 1 card investment, now we've gone to 35, 50k double strike and ripped a random card out of our opponent's hand. That is just such a powerful play, and it's really obnoxious for your opponent to defend it. and it's a ton of value for the amount of energy investment. And the secret rare is going to give me some flack, but I have reasons for it, and I'll tell you why. We could have gone with Selzeno, we could have gone with Heroine's Lineage, we could have gone with Kai, but the one I went with is tried and true, special for me, and people who test with me know it. It's the Grade 8 Mass Sand. Here's my reasoning. Selzeno, if you play against somebody who consistently clears your board and keeps popping your cards, you won't get there. So a lot of times you will. You'll stall till turn 5, you'll get there. But any decks with board clear that can keep minusing and destroying your stuff, you won't get to create the Selzeno, and it's going to be a dead card in hand. Heroine's Lineage, it's nice, but like I play a lot of Agrocin, and like if you're never committing a good 7 or less to board, it's not really worth it for the 1 energy and to give up your secret rare slot for a weak card. But obviously if your opponent's swinging with big dual attack bodies and huge battle cards and good overwhelms, it's worth it to steal them. But some decks it's just not useful. I don't like committing my secret rare slot to something that's useful part of the time. So a couple reasons for this. One thing that hurts us is heavy aggro if they can get us before we set up. That can kill us. So this secret rare is live turn 1. We can tutor it. It's easy to find. So this card hurts a lot of heavy aggro decks. They're going to push in on some kind of big battle card. A lot of times they're going to expect you to have Selzeno, or they're going to expect you to have Heroine's Lineage. They go in like an 8-drop, or they go on their Selzeno on turn 2 with Agrocin. They think they got you beat, and then you combo this for 1 energy, send it from your combo to the drop, kill a battle card ignoring barrier of any level. So this is super defensive, and it can go aggressive. I've only killed my opponent with this once, and you don't want to tap out for this unless you know your opponent cannot counterplay it. But you can activate main, pay 5, play its 40k dual attack triple striker. So if your opponent has like God Sealing Technique, they're going to have a negate live, 2 negates, whatever. Do not tap out for this. But in a scenario where you've caught your opponent tapped out, they're not Mecha Frieza, they can't play yellow counters for free, and this is a safe play, it gives you another kill card. Very rare that comes up. You're more likely going to use it for the combo. Okay, but just killing any battle card of any level, ignoring barrier for 1 energy is very good. And the reason why I say it's tutorable is because we loop this card and we replay it over and over. So we keep searching the top 3, and the thing is it has to find a mono green. So if we play Heroine's Lineage, Kai, or Selzeno, none of those secret rares can be tutored through this card. But this gives us a secret rare. I don't know about you, if I spend money on a secret rare and I play it in a deck, I love it when I can see the card and play it. If you spend that much money on a card, you want to slam it on your opponent and put it to use, right? So this tutor, just keep searching top 3. We can find this secret rare pretty often, much more so than if we play any other secret rare in the deck. So that's the main board list. I'll create a sideboard later for it. I kind of already have it in the works, but it wasn't fully finished, so I didn't want to debut it. And this video is already going in at 20-something minutes, so I figured the main board was good for this video. But this leader, it's a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot stronger in the meta than people think. It does have 1 hard counter. Maybe I'll debut that in another video. I don't want to give that to you yet because I'm going to be playing this deck, and I don't want people beating me with the hard counter. You might be able to figure it out already, but it's there. But if you like the list, give us a thumbs up. Again, shout out to the team, PPG, FOE, and keep checking back for more videos and more content.